Well, hearty good evening to everybody. Welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. We've got almost a packed house, and we're loving that, so welcome. Today is Tuesday, February 11th, and we'll start off the meeting by introducing you to your City Council.
Council members Aguilar, Anderson,
Here.
Entenmann, Erpenbach,
Here.
Jameson,
Here.
Karski,
Here.
Rolfing,
Here.
Staggers.
Present.
Thank you so much. We start our meeting with an invocation, and tonight we're very, very blessed to have Pastor Jason Miller back from the Ransom Church. Thanks for being here, Pastor. And Pastor Jason will lead us in prayer. We'd ask you to stand, and then after the prayer is done, we'd ask you to recite our Pledge of Allegiance. Again, Pastor, welcome.
Let us pray. Father, we come to you and thank you for the day. And thank you for how you have loved this city of Sioux Falls. We're grateful for the warm weather that is coming. Father, we're asking a blessing of wisdom and discernment for Sue, Greg, Dean, Kenny, Michelle, Kermit, Rex, Jim, and Dave, and our mayor, Mike. We thank you for our city employees and how they serve the people of this city and how you've blessed them with an abundance of talent and a desire to serve. Father, we pray for the people of Sioux Falls that we ask you to continue to bless them with a desire to serve and give of themselves. And we also ask you to watch over those who are moving to Sioux Falls and how they have a desire to be part of this community. May each one of them find this city generous and kind. Father, tonight we ask your presence in our city council meeting, that everything said, decided, or voted upon will be with your guidance. We thank you for encouragement for your people to rely on your Son. We pray in your Son's name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, Councilor Erpenbach had the opportunity to engage some young men and their parents and their leaders tonight, and we do have Boy Scout Troop number 48, represented by the Sertoma Club. And men, would you mind standing, first of all, and all of you? So we've got, do we have two groups here tonight? Okay, great. And could I ask, I don't have any, what's the second group? Troop 1.
171.
171. Well, we have Troop 48 and Troop 171. Men, if you'll stand as well. Thank you. And then if the leaders and the parents, if you would stand, because you're right at their sides as well, we'd appreciate it. Well, welcome to Carnegie Hall. And Councilor Buck, how did they do tonight?
You know, it was a tough go, Mayor. We went everything from swimming pools to the federal debt. So, rock on, guys.
Very impressive. Very impressive. Well, welcome. Council, I'm now going to turn it over to you, and we're going to go to the consent agenda. Any motions or changes to the consent agenda?
Move to approve, Erpenbach.
Second.
Councilor Erpenbach has made a motion to approve this item, seconded by Councilor Rolfing. If there is no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Jameson,
Yes.
Karski,
Yes.
Rolfing,
Yes.
Staggers,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
Thank you. That has passed 6-0. And then our regular agenda, any changes, Council?
Move for approval, Anderson. Second, Karski.
Councilor Anderson Jr. has made a motion to approve our regular agenda tonight, seconded by Councilor Karski. If there is no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Jameson,
Yes.
Karski,
Yes.
Rolfing,
Yes.
Staggers,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yep.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
Thank you. That has passed 6-0. Again, just a great crowd tonight, and welcome to Carnegie Hall. We appreciate it. This is an opportunity for you to engage the council. If there's anybody who wants to come forward, just come forward. All we'd ask is that you just state your name, introduce yourself to the people of our town, and if you just limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. Anybody? Welcome. Welcome, sir.
Hi, my name is Nate Flanders.
I'm a mixed martial artist, local athlete. I graduated from Harrisburg High School, and just wanted to try and persuade you guys to readdress an outdated ordinance. It's on ultimate fighting in Title 11, Chapter 113, subsection 16, I believe I'm saying that right. And the specific item is subparagraph K, where it states that it's talking about acquiring a permit to host an event. And essentially it says evidence that activity desired is not held in any park or any other city-owned facility, which to my understanding includes the event center and the arena and such. This, to my understanding, this was in 2005, this was put into place, and a few years ago I had the opportunity to attend an event here in Sioux Falls, and this was before the evolution of the sport, I suppose, and it was really crude. I've also heard stories of events before that where they were pulling competitors out of the crowd that were consuming alcohol and never had any kind of medical clearance or anything to fight. The sport's kind of evolved since then. You guys, I'm sure, are familiar with the Ultimate Fighting Championship, the UFC. It's become more of a mainstream sport, and there's a lot more safety to it and rules than there ever used to be, especially back in 2005. I've competed in Rapid City before at the Civic Center. I've also competed in Omaha at the Ralston Arena. Also in local towns like Redfield, South Dakota. They've had an event last weekend in Brookings, and I just think it's a little outdated, and the state's also voted on establishing an athletic commission to regulate this, the sport, and while they have no authority yet, they're working on gaining that authority through the legislature, and I think that Sioux Falls can capitalize on the events themselves. When I competed in Omaha, there was 5,000 fans. Rapid City was 2,000 plus, and I think that's a lot of money that can be made, and especially in the new event center or the arena. There's promotions that are bigger in the area that would like to host events here in Sioux Falls, and there's a large number of competitors in Sioux Falls that have taken up training for this. Most of us train at least once a day during the week, if not more than once. I myself train twice a day. Usually we're highly trained athletes, no different than football players or basketball players, and we love our sport. There's a large market for talent in South Dakota, with wrestling being very popular here. So I'd just like to ask you guys to maybe revisit that and possibly amend that.
Dave, very good job. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Excuse me, Mayor?
Yes.
If I may, just wanted to clarify his last name for the record.
Dave, was it Flanders?
Yes.
Yes, Flanders.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Dave, thank you. And folks, anybody else want to engage the council on any topic? Well, we appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. We'll now move on to item number 8.
First reading an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the Code of Ordinances of the city by revising Chapter 37 to amend the tax incremental district application.
If I could, I would cover this for the council, Mayor. Thank you. We did discuss this at our informational today. There's been several changes that are going to be coming forward for the second reading that'll have a couple amendments for sure. And just to share that with the rest of the public and for further discussion with the body. The language that says all persons will be entitled, all persons who are involved in the TIF should be disclosed. We're going to change that to, proposed change to 10% of the investment. Only those with 10% or more would be required of the total project. The other part in the language it talks about for the entire life of the TIF, that if any of the investors should change, that the developer has 30 days to notify the city of that change. We're going to change that to 3 or 4 years, just after the life of a TIF can live for 3 years after we've approved it. And I've got clarification on that. But so there's just a little bit of a time window after the TIF could expire that we allow that any new partners be identified at that time. So a couple of minor changes. I've had great conversations with Brent O'Neill, developers, and other counselors, and I think these changes allow this revision to be a working ordinance that works for the developers and the community and provides transparency and openness to the process. So I think these are good working changes and good compromises.
Council, very good. Yes, Councilor Buck.
I would move to set the date of the second reading, and note that this is different than what's written. I would move to set the date of the second reading for Tuesday, March 4th at 7 p.m.
Second, Karski.
There's been a motion by Councilor Buck to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, March 4th at 7 p.m., and it was seconded by Councilor Karski. If there is... yes, Councilor Buck, please.
If I could just speak to it, and I did have individual conversations with council members. I just ask that, we've been talking about TIFs for literally years, and Councilor Entman is very interested in this, and I believe the entire council needs to be here for this vote, and March 4th would be a more convenient time for that to happen, and it gives us some time to have that conversation about the changes that are being proposed.
Thank you. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Jamison,
Yes.
Karski,
Yes.
Rolfing,
Yes.
Staggers,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 6-0. Item 9.
A resolution vacating the public right-of-way on East 49th Street North from 50 feet west of Northcliffe Avenue center line to east right-of-way line of North 10th Avenue.
Chad, welcome.
Good evening, Chad Heavey with the Engineering Division of Public Works. This right-of-way is north of Cliff Avenue and west of Benson Road. It is unimproved and it is not used by the traveling public. The parcel does not contain utilities, and a utility easement will not be maintained. A neighborhood meeting was not required for this vacation, but the property owners to the west were notified, and we received no opposition to the vacation. If vacated, the right-of-way will be used in the development of the property, and engineering recommends approval.
Yeah, thank you. Was there anybody who wanted to speak to this item? Councilor?
Move for approval, Anderson.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Is there somebody who wants to speak to this item? Please come forward, sir.
The petitioner is here if you
Okay.
have questions for him.
Want to make a comment? You're here. Come on forward, sir. Welcome.
If you have further questions, I'm available. This is Dave Van Tol with Cliff Avenue Properties in Vanderhoogs. So
Thanks.
any other questions for me?
Hey, Dave.
Move for approval, Anderson.
Second, Rolfing.
Councilor Anderson Jr. has made a motion to approve item 9, seconded by Councilor Rolfing. If there is no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Jamison,
Yes.
Karski,
Yes.
Rolfing,
Yes.
Staggers,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 6-0. Item 10.
A resolution refunding storm drainage fee assessments at parcel number 54344.
Good evening, Andy Berg, Public Works Engineering. Tonight we're coming forward with a proposed refund of drainage fees for the O'Gorman campus. In our process of changing our billing system over to a GIS-based system, an error was identified in the billing of the O'Gorman campus. For the last 4 years, through 2009 through 2012, they were being charged for a much larger square footage for the parcel than the actual square footage of the parcel. So the overbilling was roughly, they were billed $22,000 and change per year for that drainage fee, and it was actually supposed to be $9,900. We found that error, corrected it, and have been in contact with O'Gorman to explain what was occurring and inform them of the refund. We obviously support the refund and the resolution correcting that issue.
Yes, Councilor Staggers.
Yes. Excuse me. How long has this been in air? It's been in air for more than 4 years. Any idea?
Our systems go back to 1998, and it shows that the square footage was incorrect then. We don't have a record of any parcel size change in there, but that's as far back as we saw the error. The ordinances outline the period that you can go back on a charge such as this, and that's a 4-year period.
Yeah.
And so that's what set the refund amount for us.
So it's quite a bit of money, actually, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Councilor Anderson Jr.
Are we going to see any other parcels like this? Since this error was made, is there any other parcels that you're going to have to bring forward to us?
We certainly don't anticipate anything of this nature. The GIS system we've switched to allows for us to check that. In GIS, you can identify the size of the line drawn around the parcel and compare that with the parcel data that's typed in each time a plat is filed. So in this process, that's how I found this. We take those two columns and we subtract them and find out if they're basically the same number or very close to. So we know, we have that assurance that they're being billed properly. The prior system didn't have that check and balance, so it's one of the many reasons we've switched to this. We're in the first full year of that new billing system, and we hope that we'll certainly avoid any of these kind of issues.
Okay, so there is other ones, but probably not as expensive as this one is?
There certainly may be. There are issues where you're always going to have an occasional one where the lines aren't drawn exactly the same or something like that. And every once in a while you will get a typo on the entry of the number, but we fix the typos on our end ahead of time.
Thank you.
Yes, Councilor.
Did we go to them and say, oops, and offer the refund? Is it up to them to apply? How does that work?
They apply for the refund. We found the error, corrected it, changed it on their systems, and then through discussions with them, they said, well, we assume we've been overcharged in prior years. We told them, yes, and the ordinance allows us to go back 4 years, and we offered, obviously, to put a resolution forward to refund those 4 years.
Thank you.
Councilor Staggers.
Yeah. And we're talking about a lot of money that they're not getting refunded. Has there been any thought or conversation about maybe trying to figure out some other way to provide some relief for Gorman?
There hasn't been any conversation with them about it. They asked for a refund of their overcharges, and we basically explained to them that our ordinance is based on, I believe, the state law as well, which basically they had to set a time period so people aren't going back forever and ever on, their grandpas being overcharged or that type of thing. So the state law, I believe, outlines it at 4 years, and that's what our ordinance was adopted to follow that. So.
Yeah, I guess what I was thinking, is there some other way we can provide some relief without, using our ordinance and the state law, but coming up with some other angle to because this is a lot of money for a private school to lose.
Certainly. We can certainly look into it. The only method we've done to date on these type of issues is the refund through the ordinance. So we could certainly work with O'Gorman to see if there's any way to correct that. I'm not aware of one at the moment. But.
Thank you.
Very good. Andy, thank you very much. If there is no further discussion, Council.
Move for approval, Anderson.
Second, Rolfing.
It's been a motion to approve by Councilor Anderson Jr., seconded by Councilor Rolfing. There's good discussion. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Urbanbach?
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 6-0. Item 11.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement between the City of Sioux Falls and the Renner Sanitary District for utilization of the wastewater collection and treatment facility of Sioux Falls.
Evening, Mark.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Mark Cotter with the Office of Public Works. Items 11 and 12 are your first two regional wastewater agreements that we're bringing forward to you. The first one is for the Renner Sanitary District. Just a bit of history that the City of Sioux Falls and Renner have been working together since 1976. They've been sending their wastewater to the City of Sioux Falls, and they've been a very good customer. These agreements tonight, for Renner specifically, will update a 1996 agreement that was in place for 20 years. This new agreement that adopts the new regional wastewater policies, procedures, and rates, and also capacity charges, which has been a key topic as we add outside customers that are growing. It addresses that, and so tonight these two agreements will first talk about Renner, is here for your consideration. It is a 20-year agreement. We've worked in partnership with the City Attorney's Office and our outside legal counsel, Greg Greenfield, to establish these very consistent contracts. With Renner tonight is Dennis Hoffman. Would like to recognize Dennis. He's in the front row, and we're here for your questions. I would also like to just give credit. Trent Lubers has really led this effort for our office from the beginning. He's ill this evening, and so I'll do my best to answer your questions. We also have Mark Perry here, our wastewater superintendent, to answer your questions as well.
And Mark, we're just focused on number 11 right now first.
That's correct.
Thank you. Thank you. And welcome to Sioux Falls. It's good to have you here tonight. Thank you. Council, yes, Councilor Staggers?
Mark, just double checking. We're not subsidizing any of this from Renner, is that right?
No, we're not. That was really the basis of taking a postage stamp approach. Wherever an outside customer connects to our system, we have a very methodical approach to how we charge for those outside services. Their rate will be $4.01 per thousand for this first year of the contract.
And how much is it in Sioux Falls?
It varies based on residential or commercial, and so I can certainly send that to you. I don't want to just...
So the $4.01, that's just everything coming from Renner?
That's correct. Yep. Per 1,000 gallons.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Councilor Staggers, thank you. Councilor Rolfing?
Yes, thanks, Mark. Some ominous or whatever adjective you'd like to use on it, but Harrisburg and Brandon are continuing to weigh their option. Can you tell me how those negotiations are coming along, and what, if they're, whatever you can tell us about those, and what effect would that have if they decided to do their own thing?
Certainly. Well, they currently have agreements with the City of Sioux Falls through this year. I believe Brandon's goes through November, and I believe Harrisburg's goes through December. Double check, but they both ultimately will expire this year. One of the things we said from the very beginning, this is a voluntary basis to come into the City of Sioux Falls. It was done in cooperation and also with grant funds from the state of South Dakota and East Dakota Water District. One of the things that we've certainly learned from regionalization is that you do get the economy of scale. You get what we believe a better environmental approach if you're discharging wastewater from one source as opposed to multiple. But I think the one thing we have to remember is we went into this knowing that it is a voluntary basis. And so what I would say, what we've been told by both Harrisburg and Brandon is that we'll know this summer based on their reanalysis of what their plans are. Ultimately, if they choose to not come to the City of Sioux Falls, that's capacity that the City of Sioux Falls has in its collection system and its plant. That ultimately just defers capital expansion expense to a certain degree. Just know, too, that with Brandon, Harrisburg, Renner, and Prairie Meadow Sanitary District, all those combined only equate about 4% of the flow and revenue into the system. And so short term, it has a very minimal effect. I think what we're always looking at is, as you look at where regional systems have been successful, certainly City of Sioux Falls has had very progressive growth. Harrisburg will have progressive growth, so will Brandon. Having all those customers in one system, you do harness that economy of scale. And we'll likely not really see the true benefits of this till 10, 15, 20 years down the road. This is cutting edge for what this body has done. And so we're going to be patient, but we're also very interested in understanding what their plans are.
Councilor Anderson Jr.
But the bottom line is, Mark, with no disrespect to these other communities, no matter what, we will be taking care of the citizens of Sioux Falls, correct?
That's correct.
Councilor Staggers.
Yes, just to provide some clarification, the $4.01 from Renner, can you tell us for a home here in Sioux Falls how much it would be, so we can get some kind of perspective?
Mark, by chance, do you have your rates with you? I can give you that comparison. A typical household in Sioux Falls is just under $30. That uses about 5,200 gallons of wastewater. That has a meter, that has a fixed fee, and then it has a volumetric basis. There's a number of customers in town that use a lot less than that. There's a number of customers that use more. I just wouldn't want to.
Mark, maybe to help Councilor Staggers out a little bit, I think the point he's trying to get to is a Renner customer going to pay more than a Sioux Falls customer? His initial comment was, are we subsidizing Renner or are we subsidizing any other community? So I think the intent is a Sioux Falls resident going to have to pay, will they have the ability to pay less than someone from Renner?
I believe that they will, because you have already the economy of scale here in Sioux Falls. Renner, that's just the Renner right now, for example, and maybe Dennis can add more. Renner right now collects all their wastewater and sends it through a meter to the City of Sioux Falls. What they send through that meter, they pay us $4.01 per thousand. Now, on top of that, they have to have additional charges to pay their own administrative staff, to pay their own lift station maintenance, capital maintenance. So their customers have to pay more than $4.01 per thousand, and I would certainly expect that they pay more. Dennis, what's a typical customer in Renner pay?
Dennis, would you just introduce yourself to the people of our town, please?
Dennis Hoffman. I'm president of the Renner Sanitary Board of Trustees.
Thank you, Dennis.
Right now, the flat charge for Renner Sanitary customers is $40 per month.
Okay.
And there is a slight increase on that for commercial users, such as the Monarch Steak Lounge and etc.
Dennis, thank you. Councilor Staggers, any other questions?
That helps a lot.
Good job. Thank you.
Great.
Thanks, Councilor. Thank you, Dennis. Well, Council, good discussion. Would anybody want to make a motion on this item?
Move for approval.
Councilor Rolfing, thank you. And Councilor Anderson Jr., thank you as well for the second. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Jamison,
Yes.
Karski,
Yes.
Rolfing,
Yes.
Staggers,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 6-0. Item 12.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement between the City of Sioux Falls and the Prairie Meadow Sanitary District for utilization of the wastewater collection and treatment facility of Sioux Falls.
All right, this is almost a carbon copy of the previous one. We started to provide service to both these entities, Renner and Prairie Meadow Sanitary District, in 1976. And so same terms apply, same postage stamp approach, same cost per thousand. And so I don't believe anyone is here tonight from the Prairie Meadow Sanitary District, but again, we would ask for your approval.
Mark, just for the people of Sioux Falls so they understand, where is the Prairie Meadows District?
Yes, the Prairie Meadow Sanitary District is just south of 41st and TLS Road, in the far extreme south and west part of the City of Sioux Falls.
Very good.
Move
Councilor
to
Staggers.
approve,
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yes.
We do have a motion to approve by Councilor Karski. Is there a
Second,
second?
Rolfing.
Second by Councilor Rolfing. Councilor Staggers.
Yes, Mark, I believe they owe us $100,000 already, don't they?
They do, they are in the rears.
Is that part of the contract that we are going to get the 100,000?
Part of the contract exists that just like if anyone is late on their payments with the City of Sioux Falls in whatever business unit it is, it's a 1% finance charge per month. And so those finance charges don't go away. And as we know, we've been in deep discussion with this entity on annexation, and that's also one of those factors with annexation. But they are not able to come true or resolve their outstanding debt with this new contract. It will continue on as we continue to service this company.
But it sounds like we don't have anything in the contract trying to get the 100,000, you know, putting additional pressure on them to give us the 100,000.
We're
Is that
somewhat,
right?
no, I don't have anything additional, and I'm somewhat limited, just like most utilities, when you provide a basic service like this, that it's very, we have to work with them, and our best vehicle at this point in time is the finance charge. We're fortunate that they did raise their rates. They have a flat charge, I believe, now per month of $100 a month for each customer in this. And so that was a big step forward here in just the last few months for them to raise their rates from $60 up to $100. We have put pressure on this customer to come true with their outstanding balance.
Yeah, I guess right now, in effect, we're subsidizing them the $100,000. And what if in the future they also have another $50,000, $100,000? They, you know, I mean, this is a concern that I have that, you know, we could be losing money again.
It's been our concern as well, and we've worked with the attorney's office and our outside legal counsel, and unfortunately we have very limited options when it comes to a very basic service like wastewater.
Paul, would you mind coming forward, please? I think Councilor Staggers has got some very good questions and good points. Councilor Staggers is just wanting to know, you know, what type of ability does the City of Sioux Falls have to try to recoup the money that is owed to it? His questions are legitimate. Any thoughts?
Yes. Paul Bingford, City Attorney's Office. Councilor Staggers, this is an issue we've been working on for a while, and actually the fact that Prairie Meadows is 100,000 behind, they were significantly more than that a year or two ago. Certainly helped out by the fact that last summer was a dry summer. There's problems with the system there. We're trying to take a global approach in terms of resolving this. Part of this is the sanitary sewer agreement that's here, but there's also discussions about annexation and resolving a number of items with Prairie Meadows. This agreement isn't going to solve all of the problems or all of the issues out there, but through the global approach, it is certainly our attempts and our effort to do that. Like I said, progress has been made, but there's certainly more that needs to be done to resolve all the issues that exist out there.
Councilor Anderson, Jr.
Could you also speak to, I believe it's state law that dictates providing the service for that?
Right. I mean,
community?
you know, realistically, we have to look at, okay, so can the city shut off Prairie Meadows and shut off their sanitary sewer district? This is right on the edge of Sioux Falls at this point in time. And if we have 70 houses out there that have no ability to get sewage anywhere, you know, then you're talking about public health risks. You're talking about other issues that are associated with it. We just can't go to the edge of Sioux Falls and shut off 70 sewers. And so that is why we're trying to take a global approach in terms of resolving our issues with the Prairie Meadow Sanitary Sewer District and get paid for past due fees, and at the same time working with them in attempts to improve their system and to make sure that you know, from a public health perspective and from, you know, 70 houses that don't have proper sewer service causes significantly, you know, more problems to the city.
If I could just say something brief.
Councilor Staggers?
It doesn't look like we're probably going to get to 100,000.
I wouldn't say that. No, I think you should be optimistic, Councilor Staggers. We're working on it. We've made progress, and we're continuing to work on it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Great discussion. Would anybody want to make a motion? Yes.
So move.
Councilor Anderson. Oh, we already did.
Yes, sir.
Oh.
I thought we did.
Councilors Karski and Rolfing.
Councilors Karski and oh, yeah, that's right. You started. Thank you very much. Good job. Well, we do have a motion. It has been seconded. There's been a really good discussion. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
That has passed 6-0. Item 13.
A proposed resolution vacating the public right-of-way on a portion of North Bluebell Lane as shown on Exhibit 1.
Good evening again, Chad Heavey with the Engineering Division of Public Works. You did see this item back in September, but for various reasons we had to withdraw it. This right-of-way is north of West 12th Street and west of La Mesa Drive and is unimproved. It does not contain utilities, and a utility easement will not be maintained. Because this road is not improved, they were not required to have a public meeting, and if vacated, this vacated right-of-way will be used and replatted. And I will just point out to the map up there, you can see that part of this area has been replatted into that cul-de-sac. And then the remaining lots on the east side of the cul-de-sac will be replatted into larger lots so they front onto that cul-de-sac. So part of it has been replatted at this point. Once this vacation, if approved, is complete, there will be utility easements that will be released by this body. Then when all that is cleaned up, then they will come back to us and replat this and then proceed with development.
Councilor Anderson, Jr.
Chad, isn't this the neighborhood that only has really one true road coming in and out of it? This is north of unclaimed freight?
Yep, they come in off of La Mesa.
Right.
And then head to the west.
And they only have one road that comes in and out of that area right now. Is this road going to be completed as part of that plan to go back out to La Mesa?
No.
Okay.
The cul-de-sac is how it exists today, and then the lots that I say front on the south side of Blue Bell, those will all be replatted and then hook into this cul-de-sac. And I hope when we come back for the hearing, I have a diagram of what this replatted area will look like. I just couldn't get it for tonight.
Yeah, if you could, I'd like a shot of that neighborhood, because I believe that we've got an issue a little to the south, though, too, because I think we have an issue there. I think there's only one way in and out of that neighborhood.
I'll bring you a larger picture of it when we have the hearing.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Council, would anybody want to set a hearing date for Tuesday, March 11th for this item?
So moved, Karski.
Second, Rolfing.
Councilor Karski has made that motion, seconded by Councilor Rolfing. Good discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Thank you. That has passed 6-0. Good job. Councilor, did you have a comment?
Move to adjourn.
Mercer, thank you.
Second.
There's been a motion to adjourn. It has been seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, Sioux Falls. Scouts, did you learn anything? Very good. This meeting is adjourned. Make it a great night.